coming for walks in nature regularly, but also kind of especially when I feel like low, foggy, drained, that kind of thing. Because, you know, like, we're living in such an artificial world, and I think people don't realise, something I've intuited over the years is that that kind of living in that artificial world creates like a fog over our senses and around our being and over our reality, and this lowers our energy, and it also subdues our senses, our physical senses, but also our other senses like intuition, and our ability to discern and receive downloads. And this fog comes over us through things like the chemicals in our food, in our water, the chemicals that come from the sky, the light, the artificial light that comes from the lights in our house, the lights on technology, the frequencies that come from the technology we're surrounded by, you know. And this world is so normalized that people don't realize, firstly, just how unnatural it is, and then also how it's negatively affecting us. And so one of the ways to combat this, short of actually living in nature, which is like my end goal, and I'll share that journey with you guys as well, that's an ongoing thing, returning to nature, just coming regularly into nature is really, really helpful. And you know, this is why the second we get into nature, we just immediately feel like an almost clearing, you know, just the fog lifting, because we're returning back to what we actually are. And more people need to realize this, because like I said, the artificial world we're living in is so, it's not natural. We're not meant to be living like that, and it's damaging us physically and spiritually more than people realize, because it's so normal to them, so they never stop to say, is this normal? And not many people spend that much time living in nature, and so they don't have that contrast of realizing, oh, it can actually be a lot better, I can feel a lot better, I can have higher energy, my senses can be way sharper, my spiritual senses, my telepathic abilities, my intuition, it can be so much sharper. They don't realize, and they think that all the fog and the low energy is natural, and it's not. And I was walking in the town earlier, and I was thinking, like, even the land we're walking on, we aren't even walking on the land anymore, it's all concrete, and we all just get given this small square in our gardens. You know, here's a tiny bit of nature just to satisfy that deep urge in you that knows you're meant to be living in nature. They just give you that small square, hoping it will satisfy that deep knowing that you unconsciously have within you, that tells you we're meant to be in nature. And I just thought, this is so weird and unnatural, and I've always thought that. So, you know, if you're living in a built-up place, even I'm not even living in a built-up place, and I can still feel it so powerfully. I can still feel this fog because of the artificial blankets that's been put over all of us and normalized to us. So something that's going to help you is getting into nature as much as you possibly can. And if you're feeling like really low, really foggy, just try and go for a walk in nature somewhere, away from people and cars and concrete and technology